Alright, so on a side note, I think it would be interesting to uh, create a persona which is sympathetic to my generational dreamy implication on modern society's progressive alterations in the midst of a ever-changing world. Um, I don't know exactly what to call it, but the general principal concept of this is going to be to help attune a multifaceted agenda to implicate very far-reaching futuristic perception while being sort of ignorant to how much it's sort of looking back on society and looking down on reality. Um, to create this persona, this new personality in you, in a what will be clearly funny or deliberately intending to be funny, due to the fact it will be presented in a stand-up presentation type setting. Um, Small venue. I mean, you're not taking this seriously. This is just something fun to do at creative outlets like cafes in town to get yourself recognition and to get people to think about watching what you have to say and what your documentary is all about. Because as you move along through these different towns and go into these different cities, creating the public broadcasting connections to implore a visitation of your sort of concepts of reallocating modern progressive thinking between infusing the North American perspective on how we can address certain variables of healthcare and homelessness. Um, sort of create a persona which is goofy, silly, a little misunderstood, but always on the cusp of literally sort of bringing together a unified simplicity to modern redistributing institutional causes to sort of think about, a good life, sharing and caring concepts and constructs. Um, but again, being sort of ignorant to how far-fetched and how poo-pooey it is to the uh, here and now status of what that entails, essentially. Um, Going into this dreamer millennial sort of rant, you're going to have to sort of induce a sort of interest to elicit laughter repetitiously while getting out big ideas, but stay unoffensive to modern institutional drawbacks. This is going to be an exceptionally difficult line to walk, but I believe there's a lot of progressive thinkers, and that's why, especially in Canada, uh, this route, this marketing strategy to get people to come to what I guess would be a premiering of the documentary, sort of an intellectual foreground to explain these deeper thoughts if you can get people to laugh, you can get people to fall in love with your ideologies, with your thinking, with your perception of a modern facilitation of how one creates uh, the next step for our generational hand-me-down psychosis, which is difficult when analyzing certain theological platforms which have brought us to this benevolent point in time, but ultimately going to have to sort of upgrade societal norms to predisposition how, say, schizophrenia and delusion is going to have to influence and touch on how we allow delusions to implicate our forefront. For example, we live in a modern society right now which deliberately forces through a governing body a 5% democracy with 20 carriers, the utterly most groundbreaking army ever, to place their hands upon the theological text in a moment in time under which we are supposed to reject, infusing religion and state under the belief truth has to be told under this ritual. So, this is not how one reaches out to show that loving, sharing, caring of a salvation, if you will, to a uprising of millennials trying to put together very real and tangible, effective and efficient methods for social good to do its best. So these are the kinds of metaphors that are going to have to be offensively grasped and touched upon in this comedic millennial dream state under which I will sort of foresee a revolutionary new concept and construct of how to immediately step one big step into this by inventing the heterosapien species. Now, this is ridiculous. You can't legitimately come up with a method under which one creates a new species when you are a certain. You're going to have to bring the irony of modern linguistics, syntax, science, and rules which construct the material realm around us, and be willing to make that sort of silly moment in time to recognize how unimportant is it to be publicly correct in a world where correction is ruled by a context where we have defined ourselves in 5 colored skins. From a German scientist grasping his, interpretation of a global civilization and how we have risen up throughout different positions geopolitically all over the globe as a DNA. These are concepts and constructs which can be exceptionally enlightening and exceptionally funny. So, to compel people to draw them into how simple bringing these, Canadian concepts of intriguing and enthusing individuals not to fear the necessity of compassion, which is get people to the doctor. Don't let people be struggling, tortured, and humiliated on the streets in a world where there's bountiful amounts of excess wealth, excess production, and excess potential to decompose the variables which institute the temptation of a pathological act or behavior which degrades their self-driven story in society. Um, you know, if heaven were to exist, do you think God would institute scarcity to impose a test-taken driven consumption that implicates us to have a certain denomination of certainty over the principles which unify our inquisition to love one another? A lot of these groundbreakingly simple, mundane circumstances that we, as millennials, keep intact for our previous generations to not feel stupid has to come out in an enlightening and innocent fashion. Um, in order to do that, you have to be critically stupid, critically loving, critically self-deprecatory towards your own millennial dream state of coming up and envisioning the future. The vision for the future has to somehow implicate some sort of rhythmic joke telling on a every minute redundancy to some degree. So create a sort of pattern which indoctrinates a given point A to point B in a philosophical misperception of what we aren't doing and a critical perception of what we could do, while every minute entailing a millennial's misperception of sort of past variables which by modern standards could be deemed schizophrenic. Um, but again, we have to figure out how to do that without being offensive. So